So just a few seconds. And we are live right now. Perfect. So welcome everyone. Hello, good day, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time zone you are in. Right now, we are in the AMA session with Scaleswap, the IDO launchpad on layer 2, and Scaleswap's co-founder and CTO, Stan Stolberg. Hi, Stan.
Hi, Nelly. Nice to be here.
And we have also amazing guest for this AMA, Slava Demchuk, who is a CEO and co-founder and PureFi. Hi, Slava.
Hi, Nelly. Hi, Stanislav. Nice to be here as well.
Guys,
nice to have you here.
We announced quite an interesting topic today, compliance in the DeFi sector, which sounds very complicated, but at the same time, it's a crucial topic for nowadays. And before we jump into the discussion in particular, let me give you a few minutes to introduce maybe yourself, Slava, and the project PureFi, so that our community, considering that we are doing this YouTube AMA on Scaleswap YouTube channel, would be great if you briefly introduce PureFi to them.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. So PureFi is the full-fledged protocol for ML and KYC procedure for DeFi ecosystem. We've been working in this space, I mean ML, blockchain analytics, for more than 3 years within the project ML bot. And that's how we come up with the idea when DeFi boom happened, that we need to create some new tools with new paradigm for DeFi ecosystem. And what is the difference between classical anti-money laundering solutions and anti-money laundering solutions for DeFi, decentralized finance, is that users want to interact in decentralized way, want to be anonymous, and don't want to disclose that much information that they are ready to disclose for centralized exchanges. So we build right now a protocol. We launch on IDO platforms in order to gather the community, to have additional promo, and have our own token, which is the essential part of all the ecosystem of PureFi. In a few words, that's it.
Okay, that's really cool. So it's about compliance and it's about security, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's boring, boring topic for many people, but a very important one. And a lot of people underestimate the importance for themselves as individuals, and the importance also for project, especially in the DeFi space and in IDO launchpad space.
Yeah.
And yeah. And you, Nelly, mentioned for security. I totally forgot to mention it. We do this project in collaboration with Hacking, which is cybersecurity, top-notch cybersecurity company, and we do all the needed measures to be compliant and safe place for our users.
Oh, great that you mentioned it, because Haken is also a partner at Scaleswap. So this is one more common thing between these two companies. And Stan, you're right. The topic is considered to be boring, but let's make this discussion not boring and answer the first, maybe simple but crucial question from majority of people: why on how do we need this KYC, which is sometimes very long and complicated. You need to show passport, you need to show address proof, some electricity bills or whatever. Why do you need this in the DeFi space?
I will go on with answering this question. And indeed, blockchain started as a fully decentralized, anonymous ledger, back 9 years ago. But as soon as it grows, and as soon as community grows, it became an industry. In this industry, there is a lot of liquidity, a lot of money, and especially in the last few years where, let's say, blockchains became a kind of mainstream. So we are far from mainstream, but we are closer to mainstream, for example, than 3 years ago. And, if you have an ecosystem with a lot of participants, and I think we estimated a number of blockchain users to several hundred millions all over the world, then of course you have authorities, like you have financial authorities of countries, and they then look closely on this ecosystem. And they decided that everything what you are doing it's also needs to be compliant to the laws of a different country, especially to financial laws. Therefore, if a project do IDO or do, let's say, token sale, and this token is a utility token, meaning that this token needs to be there in order to use the product, then a KYC need to be done. KYC is a procedure, know your customer, and the project needs to know project's customers, people who buy utility token. These people are customer of the project. And because at one point in time, the project maybe needs to do a report to financial authorities, then the project shows, okay, I know customers, I know all people who bought my token, and here are these people. And then the project did the best effort to be compliant to the laws, to the financial laws, right? And it's the same also for the customer. If the customer needs to do KYC or project participant, then it means that this project is valid, because for scammy project, for not valid project, normally you don't need to do KYC. But this can be the probability that this project is scam, where you don't need to do KYC, is very high. So therefore, KYC is needed to protect the project against the regulations and financial authorities on the one hand, and on the other hand, to protect the customer, the project user, the project participant.
I would also add another angle of this problem. Stan described the regulatory part. I would say, in my opinion, it's probably the reason why regulators requires KYC. When something bad happened with your assets, for example, some thief or some hack, and we've seen this, the plethora of such cases in a few years. When someone stole your money, you will be very happy if those money go to some centralized exchange and they have this KYC procedure. And you, in this case, only in this case, you will be able to get help from the police or from this centralized exchange and get your money back. From this angle, the KYC procedure seems crucial in any either DeFi or centralized finance or classical crypto.
That's very interesting point, guys. And then let me ask you the following. You mentioned that KYC is done to protect a startup. It is know your customer, etc. But when we speak about tokens, let's say after the private sale, after the IDO, tokens are available on the open market. And when it comes to centralized exchanges, yes, people, well, part of the people do KYC there, but on basic features of centralized exchanges, you don't need to make any KYC if you don't deal with big amounts or specific features. But on DEX, you don't need it at all. So what's the difference? Stan, you said that project has to know those people who purchased the tokens. But in few days after IDO, there will be a lot of people who purchase the token on the open market, on DEX, and the founders will be not able to identify these people. Then where is the sense of this short period for the pre-sale and IDO when you make this KYC?
Interesting question, Nelly. Very interesting. I think we need to distinguish because if the project do a private sale, if the project do IDO, then it's like this: the project sells this project token themselves. Once the project create a pool on decentralized exchange, then these tokens are, let's say, on the free market. And indeed, we are all living in DeFi world, and this is a problem also of regulators because they cannot understand how to really deal with DeFi space because it's something what is free on the one hand, on the other hand, it deals with financials in some way, but it's free. You cannot really code this on one edge. And therefore, all regulators all over the world breaking their heads how to deal with DeFi space, how to deal with DeFi projects, decentralized exchanges. And what I know, what I heard that in countries like Switzerland, but also in other countries, which are, let's say, which had progress in financial areas, they develop laws in order to go deep inside the DeFi space. And in my opinion, projects who don't care, who don't do KYC, who really don't care about laws at all, the probability for this project to survive is pretty low in future. So it all depends on the amount of how many money is inside the space, right? Because now there is a lot of money inside the DeFi space, the regulators will come. Once regulators will come, they are pretty, at some point, they are pretty straight. So they will try to adjust the laws to what we have, and it will be gaps, and some projects will be closed, in my opinion, because of this. And therefore, it's also important for us at Scaleswap that we are doing and having a proper, very good legal setup. And this is our goal, to be really, really very compliant. And our discussion with PureFi is also going into this compliance direction.
Slava, and yeah, please continue.
Yeah, I would also add, from the project perspective, what happened on the DEXs, it's so-called secondary market. So it appears users trade peer-to-peer, and projects, the project has nothing to do with those peers. So what on this stage, projects need to do KYC and ML on the pre-sale at day 0, since this is an initial sell for the project. But the rest of the trades is not a problem of the project. That's how it works right now. But apparently it will be changing. I guess maybe a few months or maybe a year. They need to do something with this.
You mean in few months or even a year, we can face the situation where the governments, the regulators will require KYC also on the secondary market, on DEXs?
No, maybe not KYC. To be honest, I don't know what they actually do. But if you check your wallet right now on, let's say, CipherTrace, and your wallet has connections with DEXs, Uniswap, SushiSwap, or whatever, you will have almost the highest risk of your wallet. It means that CipherTrace already consider DEXs as high-risk businesses. So it's happening not anymore, it's happening right now. when we speak about it, it happened already.
Yeah. I mean,
and how about DAO? Because I heard from quite some startups that are not that don't yet have legal entity set up, that have the DAO structure, that they probably do not need really KYC being a DAO. Is that true or not?
for DAO.
Our lawyers,
go on.
Our lawyers asked us to remove all the mentions of word DAO from our white paper and our website and never think about DAO. Why? Because our regulator, for them, it's a red flag right now. I mean, Hong Kong, where our company incorporated. For Hong Kong regulators, DAO is a red flag. So I don't know about other regulatory, but I think they will shut down these DAO things as well. I mean,
I'm a bit more optimistic than you, Slava. I'm a bit more optimistic because I think in reality, there is already for a long time a structure like DAO. It's, what's the word in English? It's like, it's foundation-like structure, therefore, especially also in Switzerland, where we checked for Scaleswap, there is a structure similar to DAO, where every participant of this foundation have some voting rights and can vote where the foundation goes, in which direction. Therefore, I disagree. Here, I would say that there is already a DAO-like structure there for a long time. The word DAO is itself is not legally correct, so that you will not find this word in the financial catalogs of countries. That's true, but a structure similar to what DAOs have in mind, like voting, decentralized voting, they are already there. And what we do, or where we help for DAOs with blockchain or within blockchain infrastructure, is doing exactly this, voting, for example, right? Voting for something. And holding a token of a DAO means you have some voting rights of this DAO for some special decision where the token needs to go. And the blockchain here is only, for me, a technology. It's not a legal structure. It's really the technology underlying the legal structure of foundation. Therefore, I hope that someday we will really experience DAO means foundation, and all people will come down, especially regulators, and they will accept this. And also, I heard that in US, in maybe it was California even, or Delaware, it's the first legally structured, implemented DAO structure. I forgot about this, but we need to read about this. Anyway, for me, DAO are already existing for a very long time. The only problem with DAOs is how you manage this voting process, how you make this voting process without middlemen. Because, for example, if you have a foundation 100 years ago, you need to be physically in this space, and you need to write something on your votes on the piece of paper, and you give this piece of paper to some judge, and the judge counts this piece of paper, and then decision is made. Now you can do everything of this, being on every place of the world, having tokens as this piece of paper, and blockchain technology as underlying voting technology. And a good example is Aragorn, right? One of the first DAO projects, and they have a decentralized voting system based on token holdings, and you can really, let's say, in 5 minutes, you can create a decentralized voting request, and only token holders can vote for this. But this is only technology underlying. And
this
is not.
I mean, if you want to issue tokens and sell them, and then somehow split the revenue from this selling, you can't do this as a DAO. But the DAO itself, of course, it can be used for any different areas, not for token sale, I mean.
So yes, here I agree. For especially for token sale, not because a token sale, or let's call this utility token sale, especially, right? We have, utility security. A utility token sale is a process like you sell something. Therefore, if you sell something, you have to have a business and incorporation. That's true. Here I fully agree, but it's possible also to transfer this to a DAO, then to have a foundation like Ethereum Foundation, right? The best case. And they decide what happens with Ethereum, what happens with Ethereum nodes, what happens with Ethereum as native token. And yeah, they did token sell. All we know this some years ago, but now they are foundation, not a business entity. It works.
Sure.
Okay, guys, we collected some questions before this AMA session in our communities, in Telegram and Twitter, etc., and we received a lot of great questions. But right now there are over 600 people watching us in YouTube, and they are also asking questions in the chat. So let me maybe navigate in between, putting these and these questions. So Suraj Ariala from YouTube stream is asking us, most of crypto users are teenagers and they don't own apartments or house. So showing crypto username and electricity bill is not possible. How does KYC address proof working in these conditions?
Interesting.
It's rather a question for KYC providers, but as far as I know, the utility bill is the only way so far for the majority of KYC providers. Some requires national ID card, and if there are others, actually I don't know how to address this.
But very interesting is this majority of crypto users are teenagers. So I think this will be the case in several years, but I don't think it's the case now. I don't think that majority of crypto users are teenagers, simply because the only way for teenager to earn some of cryptocurrency is to produce a silly NFT and to sell this on OpenSea. No, I'm just joking. But for teenagers, it's like with alcohol, right? This is
they're not allowed to invest in. I guess they're not allowed to do it.
Okay, investing is a wrong word, right? Token sale is not really investing, because you sell utility token, and you are not estimating that something good happens with this. But anyway, officially they are not allowed. Therefore, they need to educate their parents and ask parents to do KYC, and even maybe ask them to buy more tokens. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
A good way to address this issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take it as an answer. And we have also the question from a Telegram group. So the question is to both of you regarding the KYC during the IDO. So let me read it. Why does Scaleswap require passing KYC every time before every IDO, while many other launchpads make KYC only once?
Okay, let me start with the second question. KYC only once don't make really sense, because circumstances can change. A person can move to another house, a person can change even his name. Therefore, KYC is a process what needs to be done with certain frequency, maybe once a year, maybe once 2 years, but only once, I don't think it's the case. And the first question, why we require KYC every time, very simple, because we are technology provider for the projects. We provide for projects technology. We don't own these pools, right? These pools where participants can take part, they are for projects, and they are, let's say, the owners of these pools are projects, not we. Therefore, IDO owners are also projects, not Scaleswap. Scaleswap is only providing technology part for IDO, but the persons who should take care of KYC are projects owner and not Scaleswap. And therefore, every project is different, and every project needs to have their own KYC. This is required by law. And if it would be a centralized platform, then this is correct. On a centralized platform, KYC would be required only one time. But because we are decentralized platform, we are only technology provider. After providing the technology, we are not dealing with this anymore. Therefore, projects need this KYC, and therefore every time.
Does it mean that those platforms who do require KYC only once, they are either centralized or they are really violating the legal or regulatory requirements?
It means, I will not state they are violating regulatory requirements because I don't know this. I'm also not a lawyer, but I would say they are, let's put it like this, more political correctly. They are more centralized than we are.
Yeah, and this is a good reason why PureFi want to work with Scaleswap, since they are very considering regarding the compliance.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has some. I mean, from my past life, I had to deal a lot with compliance in different institutions, and therefore it's not a topic what really scares me. And this is why we also want to work with PureFi. Let's say for the Scaleswap itself, we didn't define the real case as is now, but because Scaleswap will release some or more products very soon. I just say the word like DEX-like products, and we want to be very compliant in these products. Therefore, working with PureFi makes totally sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then I see the question to Stan from Anastasia Yermakova from our YouTube chat. So Stan, but I'm sure that Slava can also bring a lot of value answering this question. Stan, how do you think ML, probably money laundering risks, are really so important for DeFi market? Can you explain why and how?
I can, of course. So AML is anti-money laundering law, right? And all of us know that, especially in early days of blockchain, not every blockchain transaction was so clean as it should be. It's clear because of the nature of blockchain. But as the whole ecosystem matured, and this is what we see now, anti-money laundering laws are important because these laws are implemented in every legislation, in every country, in every jurisdiction, and all projects dealing in one way or another with finance, even with decentralized finance, need to take care of anti-money laundering, need to take care that they know that source of funds is clear and is not connected to bad areas.
Yeah, I would add on this topic. On my personal opinion, DeFi is going to be a future of banking system, since it's very convenient technology. And the more money coming inside, the more analytics and protection the Western world and the rest of the world need. Since once you interact with some business and this business is not actually clean, at minimum, you can't withdraw your money. At maximum, big money never come into such a business or such a domain of business, because Western world and civilized world need to understand the risk of this money and the ability to withdraw their money back and buy some house or car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just adding to this topic, very small 5-sentence, you know that a lot of countries started to implement so I forgot the word, налоги. Taxes, exactly. Pay taxes directly in even in cryptocurrency. So Swiss do this, and I believe even Ukraine, right, Slava? Even Ukraine made several weeks ago such a law where taxes can be paid also in crypto. So in my opinion, it's very good because this shows that the blockchain ecosystem is very serious and has potential to be dominant on financial markets within next 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Guys, we have less than 10 minutes left for our AMA session. And I remember that during our short chat before the start, Slava said you want to touch the point of manual manual diligence, right?
Oh, yeah. Right now, we are at the stage of development of the product. So we have we need a few months just to launch an MVP. But during this process, we already started service which manually check all the incoming and outgoing transaction for DeFi protocols. And already PureFi helps to be compliant DeFi. DeFi ecosystem. And in order to use our service, the business need to buy our tokens, not that much, some small amount, but we already create purchasing pressure on our token, and we already provide services even without the finalized product. So this is, I guess, at this stage, this is good news for our community and for our stakeholders.
And Slava, may I ask you, when is the plan to release, let's say, beta version of full-blown product? Is this?
The initial plan was 6 months from ADO. Right now we pass almost 3 months, so we need maybe a month or 2 just to show the pre-MVP version, where users on our staking dashboard or maybe some other DeFi protocols can use our button for free. And in the 3 month, we will have MVP version on hopefully not only at farming and staking protocols, but at some DEXs as well.
Very good. I think in 3 months we will also have mentioned product. Let's call it next product of Scaleswap family, and it could be a good match that we also start even from the beginning using PureFi.
Yeah, and this is the main reason, one of the main reasons why we communicate with Scaleswap, because so-called customer development is very important for any startup, for any product, just to adjust your product before launching publicly.
Okay. So, guys, I suggest before we finish, a couple of more questions taken from the live chat. So one question, and actually it also refers to both because this one is how the PureFi works for checking smart contracts on Solana and other blockchains. And also we had a couple of questions about Scaleswap, how Scaleswap plans to work with not only Polygon, but maybe other chains in the future. So can you please both ask this regarding your products?
Slava, do you want?
Okay. Unfortunately, we can't analyze Solana right now. We can't analyze Casper or other modern new blockchains, but we're working on it. And it's difficult to say when we can analyze Solana or other blockchains. So right now we can work with Ethereum, Bitcoin, and a lot of Bitcoin forks, and Binance Smart Chain. Hopefully the next, the very next blockchain will be Polygon. And maybe Solana.
Yeah. So regarding Scaleswap, definitely we have a multi-chain strategy. We started with Polygon as most advanced and easy to use layer 2 solution, Ethereum layer 2 solution. And this will be persist in Scaleswap also for future, but we will add different EVM, Ethereum virtual machine blockchains like Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum itself, Hobby Smart Chain, and other EVM blockchain first. This is planned very soon, within the next 1 to 2 months. The development on this is already started. In addition, after the EVM blockchains, we will start with another blockchains like Solana and other not EVM blockchains. But this is not highest priority for us right now. And our developers, let's say, also need to get some experience with this, with Solana first. For example, if we develop for Ethereum blockchain, Ethereum compatible blockchains, then and use Solidity, then we know that we are working with a language which has years and years of different security checks, cross checks, corner cases checks, and so on. If we work with new blockchains, with Solana, with Polkadot, we know that this kind or these frameworks for development are younger and not as checked or as cross-checked as protocols what we are using now, and therefore sometimes need to be spent, for example, to make the pools on Solana very secure, that no funds are lost, no hacks are possible. Because we take this very seriously, of course, from the technical side. Yeah, therefore, guys, next blockchains will come very soon, EVM compatible blockchains. After this, I suppose end of this year, maybe beginning of 2022, we will see another blockchains. And we will decide on this together with the community. Currently we are working on a technology roadmap. This technology roadmap will be shared with our community, and it will be divided into different features, and community can vote for this and such features, because we develop for the community, right? The community is using our product, not we. We are only technology providers and developers. Therefore, it's fair to have this DAO-like decision making on technology roadmap. This is where we are working now as well.
That would be an interesting concept indeed. The last thing for today, guys, can you please share your vision? Because right now the tech space is developing so crazily fast. The regulators are way slower, but still every month, every year we see changes here. So considering our topic, compliance, do you see, how do you look at the foreseen future of compliance in the upcoming 1-2 years? What should we expect as IDO backers, as blockchain and crypto projects, as the community members?
I think I already started to answer this question at the very beginning. I believe that this space is getting so large in the sense of financials that regulators and financial authorities are very curious to see what's going on in this space. They will come, they will check the projects for compliance. My expectation that within next 2 years, we will have more and more laws regarding DeFi. And I even expect this even maybe end of this year or starting of next years. I believe that COVID situation bit slowed down this development, but nevertheless, this will come pretty sure. And therefore, it's for all projects, it's very important. If you start thinking about your business case, please also think that you will have some regulations. So we are not in a space somewhere on the moon where there is no regulation, no place. We are on Earth. On Earth there will be regulations, and if you want to be sustainable and if you plan long term, please also plan this regulatory point within your roadmap.
Okay, that is a good advice. Slava, your side?
Yeah, I totally agree with standpoints, and I would also add the regulation will be probably as closer to the classical finance world as possible. But there is one huge problem, I already mentioned it, that since the DeFi, those smart contracts are so complicated to understand, especially for regulators, how people interact, how those transactions happening. So I guess right now they just decided, let's label all the DEXs as a high risk, and that's the solution. And right now, I will repeat it again. If you check your wallet on a CipherTrace, and it needed to say that CipherTrace is probably the second largest ML provider all over the world, especially for the United States. If you check your wallet in a CipherTrace, you will get 8 point if you interacted with the DEXs, 8 point at 10 scale point. So it's almost the highest risk. So I hope that regulator will understand sooner or later how to regulate DEXs, and I guess we will help them with our understanding, not only PureFi, not just PureFi, but DEXs, other businesses, other DeFi protocols, and we will understand how to regulate it properly, and people can interact, can do transactions in DeFi and get the same ML risk as they have on the classical exchanges.
Yeah,
that sounds like a big innovation in the sector, actually.
Yeah. It's a big problem that for regulators this topic is very complicated, and just labeling all the DEXs as scam, it's not the solution, on my opinion.
Totally agree. therefore supporting PureFi, and it's a needed service for future, for sustainability of projects. Very important.
Let's educate our regulators together, or help us.
Let's do this, because also this black labeling everybody or everything like a scam or not compliant, it's not the case. It's not a solution. I totally agree to you.
Yeah.
That is very sweet and nice that you are so much aligned on this topic. And I hope if some regulators were watching or will be watching this video, they will know since today whom to approach in order to educate them about this DeFi sector. Indeed, I don't know if people who are watching us will be glad that you said that it will be more and more regulated, or it will disappoint them. But guys, it's the situation. As Stan said, if you are not on the Mars with Alan, you're on the Earth, and then you have to deal with the regulation. Guys, Slava, Stan, thank you very much for your time today and for really smart answers. And I want smart comments and explanations. You really managed to explain very complicated and boring topic in a very simple and clear way. I think a lot of people like me today really got valuable insights and better understanding on what is it and why do we have these annoying things like KYC, etc. It's not just to bother us, yes, it's to protect us.
Exactly.
And I want to say special big thanks to all the community members of Scaleswap and PureFi who were with us today asking questions, and a lot of questions remain unanswered, unfortunately, but I promise that we will answer it later on. We will send you the links to PureFi Telegram, Scaleswap Telegram channel. You can come there and you can ask your questions, and you can continue staying in touch. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And I want to thank for wonderful moderation, Nelly. As always, very cool.
Totally agree. Nelly is a rock star.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, guys.